Warning to UCF and West Virginia fans, it's tough to get that magic back. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Please like the video and subscribe. Let's check it out. Second tenures coming up for two Big 12 coaches in Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia, Scott Frost at UCF. Of course, Frost took over UCF. It's almost been 10 years ago. Can you believe it? And he took over a program that went 0-12 the previous season within 2 years. Wow, 6-7, and then a remarkable undefeated season. Defeated Auburn in the Chick-fil-A Bowl and had a claim for a national championship. Obviously left out of the playoff, but still a remarkable undefeated season before Frost went on to Nebraska, and not nearly the success that he experienced with the Knights of UCF. For Rich Rodriguez, a much longer tenure at West Virginia, a very proud football program tradition under Don Nehlen and others. Now, Rich Rod took over while West Virginia was in the Big East and won 60 and lost 26, as West Virginia was the class for most of his tenure in the Big East and came within that close of going to the BCS championship game in 2007. Rich Rodriguez, though, left for the big job to go to Michigan, and of course he faltered there, much like Frost did. Now both return. Do they return to the glory days, though, in Morgantown and in Orlando, Florida? Let's check out what history says of what is likely to happen to Rich Rodriguez and Scott Frost as they try to reclaim the glory for these two schools and lift their sagging coaching resumes from recent years. We're going to analyze the second tenure for coaches who have left a particular school and gone back later after surveying other jobs, whether that be on the college level or in the NFL. We're not going to touch coaches who just simply came back to coach a bowl game, i.e. Bob Stoops at Oklahoma a couple years ago. Bo Pelini did the same thing, and Barry Alvarez and Greg Knox and guys like that were not inserted as the permanent coach, but guys that truly came back as these schools all experienced tremendous success that first go around. But what happened the second time around? Let's start with the most significant of the examples, and that would be Bill Snyder and his amazing first tenure at Kansas State. Kansas State was the worst program in all of college football for years and years and years, to this extent. K-State, prior to Bill Snyder, was 9-55 in the 6 previous seasons. Now, it took him some time to get going. It took till year 3 to post a winning record at 7-4, and then the Wildcats took off. In his 5th year, he went 9-1 and posted 109 wins and 29 losses, a 788 winning percentage. That's the kind of stuff that you see at Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, with 10 top 25 finishes in 11 years with 6 teams that finished in the top 10. He had 7 double-digit win seasons, went to 5 major bowl games during his first tenure at Kansas State. Remarkable job by Bill Snyder, who does not get nearly enough credit for being one of the greatest coaches in the history of college football, despite his record not being what it is compared to the Blue Bloods and those coaches. But the second stint for Bill Snyder after Ron Prince took over, Snyder comes back after 3 seasons off and did a fine job, and K-State was still a contender in the Big 12, but not nearly the national contender. 2 double-digit win seasons, no finishes in the top 10, 3 top 25 finishes in 10 seasons, as opposed to 10 top 25s in 11 years. Again, 3 in 10 years, no top 10s versus 6 in his first tenure, and the winning percentage went from 79% to 61% on 79 and 49, 2 major bowl games for the Wildcats under Bill Snyder during his second tenure. John Robinson is known by a lot of football fans as the guy who coached Eric Dickerson and led the Rams to a 1989 NFC Championship game. But that NFL stint was sandwiched around 2 stops at another prestigious location in Los Angeles, of course, as the head coach at USC. John Robinson led the Trojans, taking over for the all-time legend John McKay. So from 1976 to 82, Robinson pretty much matched McKay, winning 3 Rose Bowls, winning 82% of his games, won a national championship, finished either number 1 or 2 in the country 3 times in those 7 seasons with all top 15 finishes at USC. Then the aforementioned stint with the Los Angeles Rams that started very well, a lot of playoff appearances, that championship game appearance, and then the Rams slid, and so did Robinson, and he went back to USC from 1993 to 97. 5 more years at USC, did produce a Rose Bowl win, a Cotton Bowl win, and 2 top 15 finishes, but only 2 in those 5 seasons. Otherwise, won 63% of his games compared to 82%, and USC was nowhere near the elite program that second time around for John Robinson. We said Robinson was possibly known more as an NFL coach, but definitely this next guy is an NFL legend. Bill Walsh, of course, led San Francisco to 3 Super Bowl championships in the 1980s. But before that, what set up Bill Walsh's ascent to San Francisco was going 17-7 at Stanford with 2 top 25 finishes, 2 bowl wins, and winning 71% of his games. Walsh sat out for a couple seasons, did some TV work, got bored, and wanted to coach again, so he went back to Stanford. Now, that first season was a blockbuster. Literally, they went to the Blockbuster Bowl, had a tremendous season, finished in the top 10 in the country at number 9 in the AP, but then Stanford slid, and Walsh's final numbers that second tenure, 17-17 with 1 tie. Johnny Majors might be the most egregious of the examples. First tenure versus the second tenure. Won a national championship at Pitt on that 1976 Tony Dorsett team. Won 33 games against 13 losses, 713 winning percentage the first time around for the Pitt Panthers. Went back to Pitt 17 years later, coached 4 seasons, and look at that record. 12 wins in 44 games, only won 27% of his games. Johnny Majors definitely did not bring back the magic. Now let's go back to the most recent example of a coach going back for a second tenure, and that would, of course, be Mack Brown in North Carolina, just being fired just a few months ago after the 2024 season in favor of Bill Belichick. Of course, Mack Brown took over North Carolina way back in the late 1980s. North Carolina was one of the worst programs in college football. Took Mack Brown 3 seasons to get it going. He went 1-10 and 1-10, and then the Tar Heels took over and took off under his leadership. 69-46 overall with 1 tie, but if you look closer and really lock down on those years, once he got it going, 67-26, won 72% of his games, 3-2 in bowl games, 5 top 25 finishes, 2 top 10 finishes, including his final 2 seasons in which North Carolina went 20-3, and that set up Mack Brown to get the Texas job. Of course, Mack Brown had a tremendous tenure at Texas, went to 2 national championship games, won 1, and then was planted there in the ABC studios in New York doing college football halftime shows. Then he got the itch to come back, went to North Carolina again. The second stint, not nearly as successful. So we talked about 5 top 25 finishes and 2 in the top 10 and a 20-3 finish. Second time around, despite some high hopes many times, they did go to an Orange Bowl in 2020, but in 6 years only finished in the top 25 once. Went to the ACC championship game in 2022, 1-4 bowl record, 57% winning percentage for Mack Brown on the strength of 44 wins in 77 games. It's hard to imagine now. Heck, it was hard to imagine then. UConn going to a BCS bowl game. They probably didn't necessarily want to go, and they got stomped by Oklahoma, but it's in the record books. In 2010, under the leadership of Randy Edsall, UConn, as the Big East champions, going to the Fiesta Bowl, and Randy Edsall did a fine job with the Connecticut Huskies as they elevated from FCS play to the big time in the Big East. 50 wins and 37 losses, won 58% of his games. And again, that one conference championship, 3-2 in bowl games. Then Edsall ran for the money, went to Maryland, and he was atrocious there. got a second shot at UConn, and no, it did not work out that second time. In 5 seasons, only 6 wins. 6-32, 158 winning percentage for Randy Edsall. So, the second tenure, no. Bobby Petrino has certainly had a sordid career, which currently includes an offensive coordinator role at Arkansas, and of course, a much famed particular motorcycle incident while coaching at the University of Arkansas. But we're going to focus on Bobby Petrino's coaching status at Louisville. 2 times around with the Cardinals, 2003 through 06. 2 top 10 finishes. That's what got him the Arkansas job. He won the Orange Bowl, finished 31-9 for the Cardinals. That's a 78% winning percentage. Second time around, not bad, but not nearly the success. 36-26. So he went from winning 77.5% of his games to 58%. 2 top 25 finishes, not in the top 10, and just 1-3 in bowl games. That second stint at UL. Smiling Mike Riley is the only coach in all of our sample size who performed better the second tenure at a particular school. But the sample size is kind of questionable. The first time around at Oregon State, 1997-98, 8 wins and 14 losses. It's kind of remarkable based on that he got an NFL head coaching job with the San Diego Chargers. But he did. Didn't last long, so he went back to Oregon State in 2003, was there for 12 seasons, and that's where he found his success, winning 85 against 66 losses, 563 winning percentage, 4 top 25 finishes in those 12 years, 6-2 in bowl games for Mike Riley, so he is the outlier. We got one more to tack on. That would be the immortal Fielding Yost of Michigan, under some peculiar circumstances, because Fielding Yost, of course, became a legend and has one of the greatest winning percentages and coaching careers in the history of college football from the University of Michigan, where he won 151, only lost 27 games, won 6 national championships. So that happened from 1901 through 23. He was Michigan's coach in 1925 and 26, not 24. What happened there? Well, Fielding Yost had taken on the athletic director's role at Michigan. He decided to retire after the 1923 season, but 1924 did not go well for Michigan. They went 6-2, and they had one embarrassing loss in particular to Red Grange in Illinois, and that just infuriated one Fielding Yost, and he just had to come back and right things. So he came back to head coach in the 1925 and 26 seasons. He went 7-1 and 7-1 to finish his head coaching career. We appreciate you stopping by here, the voice of college football. That's our run through. So West Virginia fans, UCF fans, we hope that the trends do not continue, but keep in mind that we told you so. Leave the comments and questions down below. Join us for our daily show, The College Football Show, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you then.